Hi, everybody. Welcome back to ISC West 2022. Chuck Carroll, SecurityGuideTV.com at the RadSecurity.com booth. My next guest, John Torres. He's the president of GuidePostSolutions.com. Mr. John, welcome to the show, my friend.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Tell me what GuidePost Solutions does.
So we are a company that focuses on investigations, compliance, and security design work. So we do a lot of security design work for clients, businesses, high net worth individuals.
All the boring stuff.
Exactly.
But the most important stuff, compliance. Oh my God, I mean,
right.
That's where people get in trouble because you're not keeping the compliance up to date. It's
Absolutely.
okay to put a system in, but if it's not sustainable, you fall out of compliance and you're in trouble.
Well, that's actually one of the keys that I want to talk about today. Is, one of the blind spots that we see with a number of our customers is that they'll put in some very fancy state-of-the-art tools.
That's right.
Brand new technology, cameras, access control, you name it, alarm systems, but they're just tools. And the fact of the matter is you really need to have a comprehensive security plan, a security master plan with standards, and be able to practice those and implement those.
Tell me about the importance of businesses to be proactive in these areas because, nowadays you get dinged, it can put you out of business.
And we've seen that here in the last couple of years alone with what happened with COVID and the pandemic.
Yeah.
So you talk about being prepared for any possibility that's out there, but with security alone, you see the shifts. And so, one, you need to have some sort of succession plan as well as a continuity of operations plan. But then you need to be prepared, let's say, just in case. First of all, you can't predict the pandemic, and that happened.
Who would have thought that was going to happen?
And so it goes beyond security. It goes to preparedness. But then we've seen with some of the protests over the years, a number of our clients have come back, especially those with ground-level businesses. Hey, can you come in here and help us with security? Beyond just boarding up windows, when there's a civil dispsturbance. And so you need to be prepared for all kinds of things.
That is your strategy.
Right,
people have a lot of physical tactical responses. We've got to have a strategy. So that next question, which ties into that, broadly tell us, what are your clients' biggest concerns right now? I mean, I would have said COVID a year ago. Now I'm not so sure.
Actually, there's two big concerns that we're seeing, especially while we're walking the floor here today. One of them is really repeating with us is, called CPTED. It's really how can you do security through environmental design, basically.
So people are asking for that.
They are asking for that. Because
that's pretty high-end thinking.
Especially in communities that are having more issues with crime.
Right.
And the second thing has to do with staffing, especially in this age. We are in the resignation era, as they call it.
That's
and
right.
It's tough to keep people. And so they're asking, how can we be more efficient with our staff? And more importantly, instead of the actual 2,000-hour estimate that you would have for putting a person in a security role, can you do that 1,500 hours, take the difference, pay them more so they don't leave?
What are some typical security risks you see throughout clients? Maybe there's a couple common ones.
Cyber. We're always seeing cybersecurity standard. And what we're seeing now with the access control is, are people prepared? Do they have a plan? Just because an alarm goes off, they don't have the staffing to handle that.
And so they are now staff now,
And so they're able to actually farm that out, so to speak, and go to companies that have managed services programs that can monitor those alarms remotely. And how do you use technology today to be more efficient remotely so that you don't have to rely on that stuff?
Well, let's talk about your technology offerings and your practice. And it kind of ties into our sponsor today because they use autonomous devices, right?
Right.
And if I can solve my access control by getting rid of the guard with a piece of paper by just a turnstile and a thumbprint, I'm ahead. And I'm saving money to take that money and put it into being compliant, because John's going to call up and say, you saved all that guard money. I want you to put it into your security manual instead. Right? Because you got to balance that money. Nobody wants to pay for security.
No, they don't want to pay for security. It's not a moneymaker. It's not a revenue generator.
Not sexy.
It's a cost, exactly. Yeah. And if you don't have compliance, sometimes you can't get certified. If you can't get certified, you don't have legitimate security practice.
Right.
Causes problems down the road.
So tell us about your technology offering that carve it out from what the other stuff you do. Because technology is always something that scares people. If you don't get it, you don't grow up with it, people don't want to learn it.
Sure.
They want to outsource it and say, John, just take care of it for me. But doesn't the client really need to understand it?
What's interesting with Guideposts and why a lot of people hire us is that we're technology and vendor agnostic. So they will bring us in as a consultant and say, can you help us find the right product or the right tool that fits into their systems?
Right.
And so just because the shiniest, brightest new toy that's out there is catching everyone's eye, it may not be able to integrate with the systems they have in place. Or is that company prepared to overhaul all of their systems,
right,
so that they can integrate with the new technology?
Well, and that's the big scary part for IT guys is, I want to put this new system in, but it's going to disrupt what I already have there.
Right.
And they're afraid it's going to make everything else go kaboing. So they do nothing. And that's not good either. I mean, it's
not only kaboing, but it's going to break the bank, because now they're going to have to spend a ton of money.
That's right.
To upgrade everything.
Yeah.
And so really they start with a budget, and then they come back to us and say, what are the best options out there? And if the best options aren't good enough, then they can take a look at, do they need to overhaul all the systems that they have? Do they have a patchwork of different technologies that really aren't keeping up to speed with everything today, or not?
In your technology group, how much autonomous, do you use autonomous devices or autonomous technology to kind of make a lot of this automatic for clients?
Right.
There's personnel shortages for guards. There's personnel shortages for IT experts. We got to go automated. There's just not enough people to run everything.
And not only automated, but if you have managed services, for example, where you can outsource the monitoring of those alarms in the middle of the night,
right,
where an alarm might get tripped, instead of having a person on duty 24 hours a day at a great expense,
right,
this might be some sort of technical glitch that could be solved by an managed services group that could just flip a switch on the system that they're looking at and say, we got to take care of, we don't need to send anyone out there.
And they're not going to miss it.
Right.
Because it's verified, right? That kind of thing.
Right.
Mr. John, good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely.
One quick bonus question. Who's your biggest vertical market?
Right now,
who comes to you guys?
Data centers.
Oh,
data
interesting.
centers and healthcare.
Oh, okay.
Both of those. A lot of data centers and healthcare.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
That's good.
It really kept us busy during
well,
COVID.
especially in COVID.
Yeah.
Because nobody was prepared for this, and they didn't have a book for it.
Right.
Thanks for coming to IC West 2022, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Thanks,
My pleasure.
buddy.
Thank you.